Dawn breaks over the river. A reed stylus etches into wet clay. Inside a mud brick room by the Tigris, a scribe records the temple's barley. Her careful marks a new kind of memory, one that will outlast breath itself. This simple act is where our story begins. As hunter-gatherers settled, fields anchored families, surpluses fed specialists, and from this fertile ground, cities rose along the Nile, the Tigris, and the Euphrates. Writing gave us law and shared memory, allowing rulers to organize societies on an unprecedented scale. Far to the east, along the Indus and Yellow rivers, the same patterns emerged: irrigation, granaries, and governments, knitting villages into states. But mortar and monuments were not enough. A society needs a shared story. Systems of belief, like Hinduism, Buddhism, and Confucian philosophy, provided a common language of duty, purpose, and harmony. These ideas became the invisible infrastructure holding empires together, shaping rulers and households alike. Later, the faiths of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam would anchor communities with powerful narratives of covenant, mercy, and accountability. Great networks soon stitched the world together. The Silk Roads connected steppe to city. The monsoon winds of the Indian Ocean carried ships from China to Africa. With pepper and porcelain came paper and new mathematics. Art and astronomy traveled with them. But these vital arteries of trade could also carry ruin. When climate shifted or plague surged, the same routes that carried wealth carried collapse, toppling empires and resetting the course of history. The legacy of these first networks is written into our modern world, in our supply chains, our laws, our deepest moral arguments. To understand them is to understand our own time. But soon, the world would grow larger as a new kind of highway opened up, the vast, unpredictable ocean. Salt spray stings the eye as a creaking hull chases a gray horizon. After the year 1592, in the port of Veracruz, a clerk, a distant heir to our Tigris scribe, inks shipping manifests and the humid air. He is part of a great collision. A world away, a potato from his continent steams in a European pot, while a European disease, smallpox, burns through an American village. This was the Great Exchange. Crops, animals, and microbes remade ecologies on a global scale, weaving distant peoples into a single, often brutal, economic web. At the same time, new tools, the telescope and the test tube, widened the horizons of the human mind. The Enlightenment gave this new knowledge a public voice, arguing in pamphlets and coffeehouses that reason, not birthright, should be the foundation of rights and citizenship. From salons to city streets, revolutions erupted, attempting to forge these words into law. But a different kind of revolution was also stirring, one answered not with debate, but with the iron discipline of the factory. The dawn whistle split the sky. In cities choked with coal dust, steam and steel refashioned life itself. New ideologies offered competing promises. Capitalism offered growth, socialism offered justice, and nationalism offered belonging. The factory clock disciplined time, the railway shrank distance. Empires fed the mills, and from their colonies met fierce resistance. These currents of change and conflict rushed headlong into the 20th century, erupting in the trenches of 1914 and again in the global cataclysm of 1939. The Cold War split the world in two, even as the tides of decolonization redrew the map. In our own time, globalization and digital networks have connected markets and minds as never before. Yet, as ancient plagues once did, a modern pandemic reminded us just how fragile those connections are and how easily a single breath can cross a border. And this history is not over. It lives in the questions we face today. Our technologies, from genome editing to artificial intelligence, travel through the very same networks of exchange forged centuries ago. The challenges of inequality, migration, and a changing climate demand not just new solutions, but a deep memory of how we arrived here. The story of our interconnected world continues to unfold, reshaping power and setting in motion the next unforeseen chapter.